I need validation.
That girl is just seeking validation.
I need encouragement.
What's the difference?
Is there one?
Today on Honestly, Dear Listener, we're talking about what the differences are between validation and encouragement, what we need and how to get it.
We're two childhood best friends talking about creative mindset.
I'm Emily Hatch.
And I'm Carrie Schaefer, and this is Honestly, Dear Listener.
Honestly, dear listener.
Woo!
Just before this, Carrie was asking me why I am not a hand model.
Seriously, because if you all saw them, and I've been looking at these things for like 20 plus years easy. And they're just like, like the Disney princess hands with the long nail beds and like the really like tapery fingers. That's Emily's hands.
That's very nice of you. For YouTube, look at my chipped nails. I don't.
But look beyond the chips. Look at how the structure's nice.
My mom has nice nail beds, which I appreciate. So I got most of that. Hers are better, even.
I don't believe it.
It's very sweet of you. I am now reconsidering my life choice to sing. I mean, okay, where does a kid in Palisade, Colorado find that crack into the hand modeling industry? Like,
You would have had to go to New York, I feel.
and then
So.
what? Like, how do you get a hand agent?
I would think you would have a hand agent. Yeah.
So
You know
crazy.
that people like famous musicians and stuff have their hands insured. Like,
Yeah.
they insure their hands.
Yeah.
So I would imagine if you could get insurance on body parts, and the mine went crazy just now, by the way. If you can insure body parts, you could get an agent for body parts.
I will tell you, I was a model of sorts when I was a child. There are some pretty great photos of me, like in very like cute little curls and holding a baseball and weird shit. And then my mom was like, "Then you had to get caps on your teeth, and we couldn't afford the normal colored ones. So every time you smiled, the silver showed, and you know."
You got silver caps on your
I was a
teeth?
kid. I was like 5. Just in the back.
Oh,
So
you're saying not like the fake teeth that they have for like
no, not like a
little
grail.
kid. Okay. Well, you know how they have that for like little kids that are in beauty pageants and they're like
Oh,
missing their teeth because they're losing teeth, and so like slap in a whole set of fake teeth.
oh, no.
I thought that's what you were talking
No,
about.
it was that I had to get some back molars capped.
Ah.
And so when I smiled, my cap showed. So there went my career as a model. And if you look at me now, you definitely could tell I should have been a model. A hand
Emily,
model. Anyway, so interesting.
I don't know how one becomes a hand model.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Well,
Like, how are you discovered? How are you?
listeners, does anyone out there have a connection? Because Carrie is gonna stage mom the shit out of my hands
I
if
am.
you have
Work, babies, work. Bring home the bacon for mama.
Oh my
No,
god.
this is just the most, like, when I really think about it, this is just the most pointless conversation. Like,
I like
but
it. I don't know. Well,
I do
we were
too.
talking
I think it's interesting.
discussing beauty products because if you're watching on YouTube, you might notice that my eye shadow is bright pink. And I went to Sephora yesterday in at like 59th and Lexington or something. And they were amazing. They can scan your face and tell you what shade you should get.
Wait, is that what you got done?
So they did it because I was looking for a powder, but she's like, "Oh, it's in your file now," and blah blah blah. She was so nice, and she gave me she's like, "Since you just signed up, we missed your birthday, so I will give you a birthday gift." She was the nicest lady, but I like ask questions because I'm always like at the places like, "Can you fix this?" This meaning my face. And they're always like, "Oh," like this girl's probably 20 and she's like, we do have makeup that's for older skin. I wouldn't
Ugh.
say you have older skin. You have great skin. I'm like, oh my God.
Just stop now,
Mm-hmm.
lady.
Um, so she's like, well, why don't you come back? We're having a sale in a couple weeks and I will help you get all set up with everything you need. It's very sweet of her.
That is very sweet.
Okay.
So, what palette did you buy? This isn't, by the way, listener, I realize that this is not important talk at all, but I want to know what palette is
I love how you're just continuing to talk about how stupid what we're talking
it?
about is.
This is so
This
dumb.
is
Tell me more.
pointless. So what did I get? Oh, it's Too Faced.
Oh, as in
TOO.
TOO
Mm-hmm,
faced?
mm-hmm. And it's like
Hmm.
the You're a Gem collection because I'm singing with a disco band and I need shiny eyeballs.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's
I
great.
got new mascara. Can you see how long and luscious my buggy eyelashes look?
They're so long and lush.
Thank you. Thank you
Lush.
so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate the validation.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, that's a
Oh,
segue.
oh
I feel
shit.
it.
Carrie, what are we talking about today?
I think we're talking about
Oh
validation.
my God.
So I know it's so random.
Okay, listeners. I sent Carrie a Marco Polo that was like, do we need validation? Like, I know. So, Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, this book that we're going through, it's a 12-week book. Um, she talks about the fact that we need encouragement as artists. And I agree. Do we need validation?
Hmm.
And what's the difference?
Yeah. So what do you feel like that what do you think the difference is?
I'm going to read you a little definition of.
No way. I've got the definition right here
You
too.
do?
I do.
Oh, damn.
It's probably the same one. Read it.
You do it. You have such a nice voice.
Ugh. Validation. The act of checking or proving the validity or accuracy of something. That's the first definition.
Mm,
The second is the action of making or declaring something legally or officially acceptable. And the third is recognition or affirmation that a person or their feelings or opinions are valid or worthwhile.
worthwhile.
Yeah. So that is the definition for validation. Shall I read the definition for encouragement?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Encouragement is the action of giving someone support, confidence, or hope, persuasion to do or to continue something, and the act of trying to stimulate the development of an activity, state, or belief.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So it's interesting because when we look at those two words, I'm like, yeah, validation and encouragement, they're basically like the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
but then they have very different definitions.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
So how do those definitions sit in your heart of hearts?
In my heart of hearts. Uh,
Ooh.
uh, Out of Eden. Um, that was the band that Carrie and I liked.
We're
Christian
obsessed with when we were in middle school.
Christian pop group. Um,
Yep.
well, this came up for me yesterday having to do with social media. And why is it that I, post something and then we'll like check and check and check and check and check to see if anybody liked it?
Mm.
That's validation to me. Uh,
What is that doing for you?
I thought this was a good idea, so I posted it. How many other people think that it's a good idea too?
What if other people don't think it's a good idea?
Well, then they don't like my post, and then I am not. That wasn't a good idea.
So it's just automatically, if most people don't like it, it's objectively not a good idea.
Well, I think the weird thing is it's not that simple because like it sneaks in as like, oh, you're just seeing if other people, like, saw this or identify with it.
Mm,
But what I think it does is, like, breaks you down over time in a way to having it be like, "Oh, maybe what I'm talking about isn't great. Like, maybe what I'm not a lot of people liked this." Um,
right.
and then it gets shoved into, like, it's the algorithm or it's me. Like, people don't like me. Do I need validation? Like, it's just so strange. I feel like validation is more instant. It's more of
Mm,
like a, "Oh, someone's like, 'I see you, that is accurate.'" And you're like, "Yes."
mhm.
I feel like
Yeah.
encouragement takes time and is, like, harder.
Mhm.
It's usually given by people that care about you.
Okay.
So maybe
So there's more of a personal connection there.
yeah, and, like, maybe easier to write off too.
Ooh, interesting.
What do you
Why is it easier to write off?
well, I mean, because all of us are like, "Well, yeah, my mom thinks my art's cool, but, like, that's my mom, she has to."
Right.
Like, but she spent a lot of time nurturing and encouraging, hopefully, you. Um,
Yeah.
Encouragement seems like it comes from sources that are people who we're familiar with.
Yeah.
Often a stranger or someone online isn't just, like, encouraging you. They're being like, "Yes."
Right. Yes. So that's interesting because it feels I really, really I think it nails it, especially with online interactions. With that first definition, the action of checking or proving the validity of
Mm,
something, like there's a lot of like checking action happening with validation on social media. Like the amount we check our notifications to
mhm,
be like, "Oh, I'm just checking to what we're doing is checking to see if we're valid or not."
mhm,
And validity doesn't seem to have very many degrees, especially online where there's like a lack of total nuance.
mhm.
It's like it feels like to me, especially online validation is binary.
Oh.
So it's either valid or it's not.
Yep.
And there's no any kind of in between ground or like conversation about it that's necessarily constructive because constructive conversations usually take time and thought,
Mhm,
and most people just don't have that,
mhm, mhm,
especially when you're scrolling for hours and you're fitting in as much of that dopamine as you can. Like, why would you blow 30 minutes on a thoughtful response to a person?
mm.
You wouldn't
Right.
unless you know them, in which case, like, whatever. But
Or
I don't know.
if there's a thoughtful response, it's usually negative.
Right, exactly. Like, it's so much easier to formulate a thought. Yeah, I feel like it's so much easier to be like, "This is not valid," stamp, rather than say, "This is valid, and here's why."
Mhm.
So,
When people have, like, an argument, they're then trying to prove their own validity, if that makes sense.
so everyone's validity is kind of wrapped up in each other's?
Yeah, because 'cause they're like, "Oh, I say this is invalid, and now I'm going to tell you why, so that I can prove that my opinion is valid."
Okay.
They're not gonna go on there and be like, "I enjoyed this, and so I will give you so much validity," or whatever,
Right,
they're gonna just be like, "Yay."
right. I also don't think that validate I mean, it's so black and white to be like, encouragement is good, needing validation is bad.
Mm,
Like it's too binary. I think it seems to me like we're all human beings and human beings want to be accepted
mhm,
by other human beings. Therefore, it feels really good when someone's like, "Yeah, you and your opinions are valid."
mhm.
Like, of course we like that.
Yeah,
Duh.
yeah. I mean, it was just it's such an interesting concept to think about. Do we need it?
Do we need it?
Because I do believe we need encouragement in our art.
Yeah.
Do we need validation?
What do we need about encouragement
I
in
mean,
our art?
I feel like the definition you read is like to
Mhm.
what is it? Basically like to promote whatever it is to continue,
Right.
right? What is
Persuasion to do or to continue something, the action of giving someone support, confidence, or hope,
mhm.
or the act of trying
Hope.
to stimulate the development of an activity, state, or belief.
So it's like an action that moves and breathes and pushes you, urges you forward. I think
Right.
we need that to continue making things.
Yeah.
But whereas validity, yes or no, is
Right.
like instant and doesn't do anything. It's like someone can walk up to me and just be like, good job. And it's done. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
cool. But like, it
Good.
doesn't make me like, oh, yeah, like push me forward.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely. No, it also feels like validation is about judgment.
Mm-hmm.
It's about making a value judgment. And if you are on the quote unquote positive side of that value judgment, that feels good.
Mm-hmm.
I like feeling that way. Of
Mm-hmm.
course. But so often I think we are on the negative end of that value judgment.
Mm.
And I feel like it's the opposite. Like we as creators, I think, especially in that first half of creating, like we talked about, the first half of creating is about, according to Stephen King's book on writing, is about you and the art and being with the art and letting it just happen and feeling joy and delight in it, right? The second half is about the business of it. Is it good? I need to edit this. I need to, whatever I need to do. Um, and it it feels like validation is more concerned about that second
Hmm.
part of it, the editing and the, going over it and making it better and is this good or not? Like when we're first creating, we're in that first part of the process, I don't really think our focus should be on if it's good or not
Mm.
or if it's valid or not. Like those at that point are really none of my business.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm making the thing, I am not caring about whether it's good or not. All I'm caring about is play and delight.
And continuing to do it, right?
Right.
Like keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
So the validation almost reminds me in a way like when I receive validation and it's like, "Ooh, this is good," or "This is bad." Like it almost reminds me, "Oh yeah, this is about a value judgment."
Mm.
That's not even an arena that I want my stuff to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it's in its youthful forms, when it's a baby.
Mm-hmm.
It's like being like, "Oh, yeah, your baby's hot or not." It's like, "Don't tell me whether my baby is hot or not. Like, get out of here with your gross."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's, we were talking so we have a group that is going through the artist's way, and we were talking on Sunday about like having one eye focused on the audience and one eye on your art, and how that that seems to tie in a lot. It's like looking for validation as you're creating something, and then that alters
Mhm.
the state of creativity that you have, right? So
Yes.
if the encouragement is going like, keep going, keep going, keep going, that's like more focus forward, you know,
Yes.
um, rather than like, is it good? Is it still good? Is it good? Is this okay? Should I change this? Like needing
Right.
that, like, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. That's not fine. Like,
Right.
you know,
Also, what if the validation or lack of validation or negative validation is wrong? I mean, that's still when I say wrong, that
Mhm.
assumes that there's a right, and that's still a value judgment in
Mhm.
and of itself. But, like, what if the person is like, they just don't like the genre that you're writing in,
That's the thing, because no one can really be right or wrong
right?
about art.
Yeah,
So if they weigh in and it's negative, that's stopping you. That's the,
right,
you know, then you have to battle through that to keep going. And
right.
they're not even right, because that's not a
Yeah.
thing.
Well, or if you're starting out, let's say you're a baby painter or whatever,
Oh, cute.
and you're I know, so cute. And you're putting your stuff out there online as you learn, and you're being judged next to people on Instagram who have been doing it for years and years. And somebody, all these you get all these comments like, this is trash. This doesn't even look good. Well,
Mm,
of course it doesn't, ding dong. I'm learning.
mhm,
I'm letting you into the process. And so, yeah, like I feel like negative validation for a myriad of reasons could really stunt the growth of an artist, when
mhm,
really it's like that. It's just a shame to me putting so much weight on validation
mhm,
instead of finding the people you trust and whose opinions and voices you trust,
mhm,
and even holding that loosely. Like, what, do you like it? If you like it, full steam ahead, even
mhm.
if no one else likes it.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, the hard thing is, like, as you're especially with social media, as you're seeking this validation, this positive validation, you're in a minefield,
Mhm.
because you're gonna get negative, and it's gonna stop you.
Right.
The positive isn't gonna make you continue. The negative
Totally.
will stop you. So
Yeah.
it's like, don't go out looking and then be like, "Whoa," when you get negative. People,
Right.
yeah.
So what do we I mean, my response, good or right or wrong or somewhere in the middle, is I just won't engage with social media.
Mm,
I'm a little uninterested in it anyway, because it's a huge time suck for me in the first place.
mhm,
And so I've just like, I hop on maybe every couple of weeks and whatever, but I don't generally do it. And then when I was on it and I was posting things that I was thinking or making, I would turn the comments off. But I
mhm,
don't know, like, that's what I felt like I had to do to keep out negative validation.
mhm,
But I don't know if that's right. See, here I am sitting over here being like, what is the objective right and what is the
mm.
objective wrong? How should I objectively, in a correct, right, valid way, have handled this situation?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just enough to say, I don't enjoy this. I don't have to do this.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's literally your life.
It is?
It's like you get to
Ah!
pick if you wanna let this shit in, if you can
Yeah.
handle it. Can you handle it? Uh,
No, I can't
I mean,
handle it. I actually can't.
I feel like I can't either sometimes, a lot of the time.
Right.
Which is partially why I even brought this up, because I was just like, "Oh, I'm seeking validation. Do I need that?"
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
we all joke all the time, like, "I need validation." And
Mhm.
I'm like, "Do we?" But do we? Just,
It Well, because it sounds like cute and funny to be like, I need validation, but when you say, I need encouragement, it sounds a whole way that sounds it should and it shouldn't be. Like, there's nothing wrong with asking for encouragement, you know,
I wonder what would happen if you went looking for encouragement.
instead of validation.
Mhm.
Ooh. Well, I think I would stop looking to total strangers. Because I don't feel like I'm gonna it is rare, I feel like, to receive actual meat and potatoes, sink your teeth into it encouragement from a total stranger.
Mhm. Because do you even value that?
I
Ah,
don't know you.
yeah. Like, you could I don't know. I was about to say something that I think is fucked up, so I don't wanna say it. Uh, you could be a nobody. No, oh my god. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's interesting to pull those things up because I'm sitting over here thinking the same thing. Like, yeah, what if you're a nobody? I don't care about what you think. But then like that is also a value judgment, you know?
Yep, yep. I
Where would you find how would you go about looking for encouragement?
mm, I just really quickly this feels like a duh, but for some reason it just hit me that the word courage is in there.
I have not thought about that. That's not a duh for me.
It's like, oh, it's helping another person have the courage to continue or
Yeah.
helping yourself have the courage to continue. So, to answer your question, um, I think I do have people around me that are supportive of me, and I think I would need to there are people I could go to say I need encouragement.
Mhm.
Um, I think there are a lot of places it's not. Um, and so it just goes back to that social media thing. I'm like, I wouldn't be looking for encouragement there.
Mhm.
I think I'd be looking for encouragement also in this annoying thing again in myself, like
Ugh.
digging in there, barf, barf, gag.
It's true though.
But like, what's gonna make me feel empowered and like find that space that's like, yes, let us continue. Uh, there's she's probably in there somewhere. What about you? Where would you look for encouragement?
Like I said, not online,
Mm-hmm.
not from strangers. I would go to people well, it would depend. If I'm needing encouragement personally, like, "Keep going, girl. Keep living your life."
Mm-hmm.
I would go to my friends and family who know me the best, that I have been tried and true and have stood the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
And they know who I am, and so they're able to really speak into those wounded places.
Mm-hmm.
If I was needing to be encouraged in my art, I would go to a very short list of people. And they don't necessarily have to be in my specific discipline, but they at least need to have similar creative sensibilities.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you and I can talk about art. And even though we're in two different disciplines, I'm in writing and you're in singing, even though we also do
The other
those same other
stuff,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Um, I know you're going to have a lot of I know we're talking the same language.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that when I say something about creativity, you're able to be like, yep, because I also have, I'm also a part of that network, that creative energy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, um, and so I'd probably go to my artist friends. And I think that's why it's so important to have a creative community because my gosh, there's going to be times when we feel like shit
Mm-hmm.
and we're like, I don't want to do this anymore because I'm so downtrodden. And we need our creative community to be like, nope, you might take a little bit of a break, but then you're going to get right back up on that horse because we need your art, even if it's shitty art,
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
because there's going to be stuff that is also wonderful that comes out of it.
Yeah.
It also feels like validity has to do with identity, whereas like who you are
Mm-hmm.
versus encouragement, which it has to do with what you do. Maybe. Te- do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you somewhere in the middle?
I'm thinking.
Since we're not doing the binary.
I feel like the identity thing seems really true. It's like if you validate me, you're not validating my art, you're validating me and my
Right.
identity uh versus like a project that you're helping me to continue through in a way.
Mhm.
Um it goes back to all the stuff we talk about all the time with the conduit and the like value and like worth on the table and stuff like that, because if you're being encouraged, it feels a lot more like an action
Mhm.
versus like you're okay or this is okay being like a statement about if you should continue or not.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Why is validity, like value statements, so prevalent and encouragement, etc. statements so rare, it feels like?
I don't know.
Or are they rare?
Hmm. These are really hard questions. What do you think?
It seems like it's really easy to say a yes or no for validity. Oh, that's good. Love that. Oh, that's crap. Hate that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
rather than having to encouragement is work. I mean, you're doing emotional labor, and we humans, I mean, I think organisms in general try and find the easy route,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, because it's less work and less energy.
Mm-hmm.
I think it takes time and energy to be thoughtful
Mm-hmm.
and not just to say blanket statements. I thought it was good is kind of a blanket statement, and that's fine. But to be like, I love it when you foreshadowed this and when this character played into this, or when you did this like really nuanced thing choice with how you sang this thing that totally changed the interpretation of the meaning of that line. Like that is someone paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And attention is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It is especially now these days when
Mm-hmm.
our attention is so fragmented.
Mm-hmm.
And so um I mean, is there any bigger honor than when someone gives you their attention? I mean, really their attention.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe I think that's why encouragement is more rare than validation is, because it takes energy, attention, time, all the things that everything around us is vying for all the time.
Mm-hmm. I wonder. I mean, it's so much more long game, and I'm bad at long game.
Me
I have
too.
no patience.
Mhm.
Um, I think it'd be fun to think about a time or times in our lives that we've felt encouraged by someone
Mhm.
and what validation looks like as well. And I think people are trying to encourage us more than we maybe even realize. If we're looking
Oh.
for encouragement and a reason to continue from that, like the motivation to continue, I think we would be fed a lot more
Mhm.
than just seeking out the little tidbits. I'm not saying that little tidbits aren't great, but I think it's like if we focused on it, all I can think of is like a meal. If we're noticing we're hungry, what our body's really asking for is something to sustain our energy, right? So I could eat some Cheetos, but ultimately, and they taste great, but ultimately, it's not going to nourish me and allow me to have energy and be full and be able to go take a jog or something, right? I can't just
Mhm.
eat a handful of Cheetos. And to me, validation, especially with social media, is like a handful of Cheetos.
Mm.
Where like
Mhm.
having a piece of chicken or whatever and some veg, that's going to sustain me a lot longer. To me, that's like encouragement. It's going to take me more time.
Mhm.
It's going to be harder to find maybe. Uh but if I could spend my energy focused on getting that meal that's going to actually nourish me, I think so like I said, I'm not putting down validation. I think it feels great. Cheetos are awesome.
Totally.
Um, but I do think if we could take the time to see who's pouring into us, who is encouraging us, and hear it and digest it and let it be something that helps us continue rather than it's just my mom, you know?
Right.
I think
So you're saying we have a lot we're probably encountering more encouragement than we realize if we were open to seeing it as that and accepting it
I'm consuming
instead
it.
of so quick to yeah, instead of so quick to be like, "Oh, you're just my mom," or "You're just my friend," or "You're just whatever."
Mhm.
Of course you think that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I love this idea of like food and energy. Like it feels like validation is like, yeah, like you said, like Cheetos, like little hits of cotton candy.
Mhm.
And that's great. Love that. Fun. Ooh. But then also like you can't live off of that
Mhm.
in order to if you want your art to survive, you've got to give it the meat and potatoes if you eat meat.
Yeah, or the beans,
Quinoa and
the beans
tofu.
and potatoes.
Yep. Yeah. It
Pea
works.
proteins and potatoes.
Yeah. Pea proteins.
Pea proteins and potatoes.
Yep. Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. It also makes me feel, and this is not me being judgy because I don't do social media as much, but it seems like to me, of course, we're going to get more validation over encouragement if we're spending 4 hours a day on social media.
Mhm. More Cheetos.
Yeah. I mean, we're putting ourselves in the way of the Cheeto when we are just it and dear listener, there's no shame or shade to you if you do social media 10 hours a day. You might need to go walk a little bit outside though and get some sun in your eye. But there's no shame or shade.
No.
I'm just saying that it you are putting yourself in the way of the Cheeto.
I really want Cheetos right now.
Aren't they so
Oh,
good?
God,
Why
I
are they
haven't had a
so
Cheeto
freaking
in
good?
a long time.
What is your favorite? Like the regular Cheetos or the puffy
I
Cheetos or the cheese balls?
I was literally just thinking about puffs or I'm usually a crunchy gal, but
Okay,
sometimes
so
I'll
the
go on a
regular?
jag and have like puffs. I haven't had Cheetos in a long time.
Yeah. Oh,
I
they're
need
so
like
good.
I do need a meal though. But like I
Yeah.
really just want to buy puffs right now. Like the podcast is done. I have to go to the store. Bye.
Yeah.
Um if you need a suggestion uh of a weight, so I don't know about you, but I've been through the like I didn't even notice I'm in my social media app right now. It's just such a habit for me to pick up my phone and look at
Yeah.
my social media. Uh so I've like been through that, deleted the apps, then it's a pain in the apps because oh, come on. Because you're like I've got to post this thing or someone's talking to me on Messenger and I need to have that. I feel like we should try for a sponsorship right now, but I downloaded Opal.
Ooh, what's Opal?
Opal is uh it blocks apps that you tell it to block for extended periods of time, and it makes it a little harder for you to like have to get around it. So like Instagram, you can set things so that you have like a limited amount of Instagram or a limited amount of Facebook or whatever and in your phone, but Opal actually like blocks the app for you and will give you a message every time you click on it that's like Instagram's not serving you right now or something. And it's like, okay. And you have to close that and go into the app itself to take a break. And every time you do that, it's like take a deep breath and makes you wait like 10 seconds and shows you like a picture of something outside or whatever. And it's like you can take a break for up to 15 minutes. You have to like dial in how many minutes. It keeps track of how many breaks you take. It tells you how many times you
Whoa.
picked your phone up. So
Wow.
I tried it for a week for free. And I was like, I'm not paying $100 for the year for this stupid app. That's dumb. So I like said, I don't want to continue. And then after it was done, I was on my phone so fucking much. And I was like, I am wasting so much time.
Mm.
And it showed up report at the end of the week. Like it saved me like 30% of my time or something.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I kind of think $100 is worth it because this is like
Yeah.
hours of my life. And they show you this breakdown that's like, if you use if you use your phone as much as you have been, you'll spend like 26 years of your life on the phone. It was something insane.
Oh my gosh. That makes my stomach turn.
Like
Oh,
of your waking hours or something. I forget.
Lord.
It might not have been that much, but it was a lot. It wasn't like a year. It was
Yeah.
multiple years. And then they said, after you use the app this week, you cut your screen time to this, which means you'll only spend 9 years of your life on your phone.
Good gosh. Here's the deal with those kinds of things, though, is I'm like, listen, I am controlling this ship. I have enough willpower and enough self control because I'm freaking 40 and I can do it. I don't need an app where I pay money to blah, blah, blah. And then I don't. I obviously do not. And it's not like, oh, here you have no willpower. It's not like that. It's like, hey, like we've talked about before, they have hired, and they meaning the social media moguls, have hired some of the best minds, the smartest minds in the world. Definitely smarter than me to make it to where I never leave social media. I'm always scrolling. Who
Mm-hmm.
do I think I am to think that I'm smarter than those people that get paid big bucks to keep you addicted?
Or that you have more willpower than they are smart. Yeah.
Yeah, I I don't. I don't.
I don't either. I'm like, I mean, that being said, you haven't been on social media very much.
That's true,
So,
but it's because I've deleted it from my actual phone. So if I and then they make it really hard to Instagram makes it nearly impossible for you to do Instagram like on Safari on your phone.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
It's just not worth it to me. I'm like, this is so clunky and stupid. So I just don't even do it.
mm. See, that's
So
so good.
that's why.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's I had to, or else I spent so many days absolutely depressed after the day because I was like, I've wasted this entire day.
Mm, mm-hmm,
I'm literally wasting my life,
mm-hmm.
and I'm so mad. So,
Yeah. I'm wasting my life being like, did somebody like it? Did somebody like it? Did somebody like it? Oh, I should post this and see if they like it. Did they like it? Like, ugh.
I know, dude. I know. I know. And you know what? It is time. I turned 40. It is time to put my head down and do the thing. I don't have time to waste anymore. I never really did, but now it
You're
really
feeling
feels
it.
like I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. And I'm not good at it all the time because I still have moments, but like let's get going. Let's go.
Mm.
Let's go, folks. Let's go.
Let's keep our eyes peeled for encouragement.
Yeah. Love that.
And also, I would like a bag of Cheetos.
Yes, please.
Till next week, dear listener. Honestly, dear listener.
Woo!